players and the coaches both responded well. They took the things that we went over every day in the meeting as far as the motivational part goes, and they bought into it, and they went out and they had a really productive week of practice. I was very, very, very pleased with their attitude and effort.
Steph?
Buki, Jet both had, I think, over 18 tackles. I guess just what do you think of their play and, the role they play in anchoring this defense?
It doesn't surprise me because all week long, those two have been the two up front, all right, leading this team, all right, and they came to work every day and they brought others with them. So it doesn't surprise me when they play like that. When you work like that, good things happen.
Jack?
Offensively, it took a little bit for Will to shake the rust off, but what would you just kind of make of his performance today?
It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. And like you say, he shook some of the rust off. He's getting better. Got to get him back to his form. But he knows, and I know knowing him, he's going to come out, all right, Monday, and he's going to go to work, all right. And he just let the team know that in the locker room.
John?
This is a team that's been through so much between obviously the tragedy of the death of Mike Leach and going through a coaching change as well. And today, still late in this game, they responded, went on that long run to kind of win this one. What do you think it says about this kind of group of players, and what have you really learned about them since being around them?
It says a lot, and what you asked is exactly what we as the coaching staff, what I knew, coming into this game with this change, they lost two head coaches, within a year. And so that's difficult. When you think of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, the emotional side of that, and so that's where I started the approach, is working on the mental mindset of what you're facing. And we watched a video by Inky Johnson, and it's called Go Heavy. If you get a chance, it's only 3 minutes, watch that video, and then you'll understand the approach that I had with these guys all week. Inky Johnson, Go Heavy.
Robbie?
Coach, obviously Woody's been banged up the last few weeks and looked like it again today, and you spent more time around those running backs than just about anybody, and Seth and Jeffrey come out and really step up. What have you seen from those guys kind of taking advantage of their opportunities the last few weeks?
They complement each other, they love each other, they play hard, all right? And whichever one is in the game, they're gonna play. I got confidence in all of them. And so they knew going into this game, we were gonna run that ball. We were gonna run the ball. And I told them, I said, hey, now I'm the head coach, so I can make sure we run the ball. And so they loved that. So they knew coming into this game, we were gonna run the ball. We 45 runs. That was right. I had a mark of 40, all right? So it was a good day running the ball for us.
Justin?
Greg, you've obviously been a part of this program for a while, and you see you coming out after the dog walk, and you're the first one there, you're petting the dog and all that stuff. And what did it just mean to you for you to win a game here as an acting head coach and have that memory, I guess?
We was riding in on the bus, and I thought about that. I say, I never really coached as a head coach in Davis Wade Stadium. Here at home, hadn't done it. And I'm thinking, okay. And then the pressure hit. I was like, okay. But it was great. It was a great feeling. I felt confidence. The kids felt confident. So it was a great ride with these guys today. All right, it was a great ride, and we got one more.
Steve?
Coach, you talk about the emotional part of it. How big was it this week with Will? I mean, the guys knowing that Will was expected to play and kind of formulating the game plan around him. Did you see them kind of respond knowing that QB1 was back?
Yeah, again, what Will brings to the table, his attitude, his effort, his work ethic, his motivation, his enthusiasm. He is energy in the team. All right, and every day in every meeting he's there. He sits up front, and again, that young man is special, and I love his leadership and everything he does.
Yeah.
You talked on Monday about the motivation of trying to win a state title these last 2 games to take care of business today. I guess just how much has that motivated this group of trying to get bowl eligibility, but also to beat 2 in-state opponents in Southern Miss and Ole Miss?
It's been a big motivation, and I wish you could have heard Will Rogers in that locker room a second ago. All right, we got a game Thursday night, And that game is very important, it's special.
John?
Can you kind of, recap what was going through your mind during Jet's interception that kind of really iced the game? And what were your thoughts on the lateral?
Well, me and Jet have laughed all week, and we have this term we call seatbelt. All right, and when you're in heavy traffic with the ball, you put your seatbelt on. And I saw him pick and he started running, and all I could think was me and him looking at each other saying, seatbelt, seatbelt, seatbelt. And then I looked and he had tossed it back. I was like, oh, when he come off, I say, hey, seatbelt. And he's like, just start laughing. So that was great though. The kids, they grasp buzzwords, and seatbelt is one of them, and they just love it, man. They had a fun time today. Jet, that was special. That was special. Special players make special plays.
Yeah.
You guys did a real nice job slowing down Frank Gore Jr. Coming off 3 huge games in a row. What was the game plan there against him, and how do you feel like the execution went there?
We're gonna stop the run. All right, that's one thing we said going in. This game was gonna be won in the trenches. All right, with us running the ball up front and us stopping the run. That's how we were gonna win this game. And our O-line and our D-line, they came to play today, man. They played. And Frank Gore Jr., he is a good player, really, really good player. All right, I thought our defense played lights out today.
Anything else? Steve?
Coach, I know for a lot of people, it was kind of an obvious pick when they elevated you to the interim coach. Mississippi State base has really stood behind you and supported you here. What does that mean to you to have this response from the Mississippi State fans that they're happy that you're their interim coach?
Well, it's like I said before, coming back here, when Zach Arnett gave me an opportunity to come back, it was like coming home, okay? Because this place is like family, all right? I got my church family, I got my Mississippi State family, I got my family, all right? And this place is family oriented. It is a family place. Starkville is about family. And I felt that all week long, I felt it, all right? Yes, I've done it before. Yes, I've been here before, all right? But it's family, all right? This place is family, and the love is genuine.
Danny?
Coach, can you just talk about the performance of Kyle Ferry a little bit in the special teams, getting those field goals and you were trying to stay in the game early and he was getting those points for you?
Those were big. And all week long, we talked about points, all right? Putting points on the board when we got down there. And then pregame, we said the line was 32-yard line. We had to be at the 32, all right? And again, he was consistent all day. Consistency. We talk about the power of compound, being consistent, stacking days, and he was stacking them today. I love it.
Marcus?
Coach, you talked about family and getting ready to trying to win the Mississippi State Championship. Going into this week with the game being on Thanksgiving and being here in Starkville, how are you going to approach this week, not knowing what the future holds, knowing how much is at stake and everything that's been going on?
I got one approach, all right? And we're going forward, straight ahead. I'm full speed every day, all right? They know me. That's one good thing about it. They know how I'm going to be every day. When they walk in that room, they're getting the same guy they saw yesterday, okay? So we're going to approach it head on, and we're going as fast as we can. We're moving forward. They get 24 hours. They get 24-hour rule, okay? You enjoy this one for 24 hours, and then we're back and we're rolling tomorrow.